Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we're going to be going through my first thoughts and opinions on the new FIFA 23 FUT web app. There's been a few mistakes, some price ranges are crazy, some untradeable packs which has caused some distress and anger amongst the fan base. So we're going to go through all of this right here, right now, on my opinions on the new web app. Let me know yours below as always, I'll try and respond to all of them, and let's go. So I think first we'll start off with the SBC section. So if you don't know already, in the FUT 23 release, there's obviously new chemistry. And if you don't understand the chemistry, go and check the video up above right now, which explains everything new about the chemistry system. It'll make you an expert within a couple of minutes. But with the SBCs, the chemistry obviously is implemented into that. And there's a few issues with it. There's two SBCs that don't work. One of them is the EA obviously cannot do maths, because it says you need a maximum or bang on 2 of those little diamond chemistry points per player. But then it also says you need a minimum of 27 chemistry, and anyone that can do simple maths knows that 2 chemistry points on each player would equal 2 times 11, which is 22. Now 22 will not reach 27, which means issue number 1 is that SBC is unable to be solved and claimed. So that's one SBC that's not working. And the other one is one that all the requirements are right, but you receive an error when you try and submit it. It's in one of the foundation or the advanced things. I can't remember what it's called. If I have a picture, I'll put it up now. But the issue is the requirements are there. Everyone is submitting it, and there's just an error that comes up in the top right saying unable to submit the SBC, which I don't know why. But one thing that is important to note is early this morning there was some issues getting onto the server, which people are suspecting EA took the website down to fix some things. One of the things they fixed we will get onto next, but what is interesting is that EA have not only decided to fix it, which, you know, people thought, hooray, we'll be able to do these SBCs, but no, they've not done the SBCs, they've not fixed them, and people are still unable to submit these SBCs for packs, which is, you know, packs and trading and getting the coins is the best thing about the FUT web app, but when you're unable to get them, it kind of brings the hype down. But yeah, that's mistake number 1 of the FUT web app is SBCs. Now let's move on to mistake number 2. So then moving on to point number 2, in objectives on FIFA on the web app, there is one objective which is a challenge where you need to buy 500 players from the transfer market, and you get a decent pack from it. I think it might be a 50k pack, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, so one of the challenges, you need to buy 500 players, which is obviously almost impossible to even want to buy that many players on the web app. 500 is quite a lot, but there was a glitch, because EA have fixed it now, where you could buy 1 gold contract, and that would be the equivalent to 15 players. So you could buy 1 gold contract on the transfer market, and it would add 15 players out of the 500 into the objective. So, you know, you could buy a couple contracts, and you'd be on your way to getting the 500 players on the transfer market objective complete. So people are getting some big contracts, some big packs, sorry, from just buying a couple contracts at 200 each. I think it did lead to a couple hours later of the contracts becoming extinct, because people realised that the glitch could happen. Obviously, this is one of the issues that does affect EA, so that's the only reason they've updated and fixed the issue, sorry. But, you know, it's like I said before, it's interesting to see that they haven't gone back, or they haven't fixed this SBC issue, where, you know, you can't submit SBCs, the chemistry additions are wrong. So it is really interesting to see, but that is point number 2, of which is fixed now. So, you know, a bit of an L if anyone didn't manage to do it. I didn't manage to do it yesterday. I only spent probably 2 or 3 hours on the web app, and by then no one realised the issue was there. But yeah, that is point number 2 of the contracts counting as 15 players for the buying players on the transfer market objective. So let me know if you managed to do that SBC or that objective, and who you got from that pack. On to point number 3, and this one is a bit of an issue, a bit of a mess up on EA's side, I believe, and a bit of just, you know, like a bit of bad transfer market management from the players. So if you haven't seen already, some of the prices on the web app are ridiculous, and I mean that by saying they are ridiculously cheap. let's use Vinicius Junior as an example. So last year, FUT 22, Vinicius Junior was about 100k for at least the first month or two, his normal standard card, and especially that inform team of the week. But now, even after his huge upgrade, Vinicius Junior is now 86 rated, one of the most OP cards on the game. Any guesses how much he cost? Within the first hour of the web app coming out, Vinicius Junior was 65k. Now that is really worrying. That is really worrying. Now I know there is obviously reasons for players' prices to be coming low, because no one has coins. So if someone wants to buy sell a player they've packed, you're going to have to obviously list on the transfer market for quite low, because no one has the funds to afford these high-rated players and expensive players. So it's understandable every year on the FUT web app players are cheap. For that reason, but this year the players seem really cheap, and it's not just Vinicius Junior. You look at players like Messi, who was 80k yesterday, Ronaldo, who was under 100k. You look at Mbappe, who's 700k, and he was in the millions last year. There's many other players like that. There's even the players like Luis Diaz, who everyone thought would be expensive. He was 20k. Ousmane Dembele was 40k. All these ridiculously OP players are like dirt cheap. Obviously, it's quite hard to get that money right now, which, you're probably only able to buy one of these players, 40k, it's quite hard to get 40k in the web app, especially if you're unlucky with your untradeable packs. So it will be quite hard to get that, but if these prices don't go up, by the time the game is fully out, on the 27th for Ultimate Edition and 30th for Standard, players are going to have these cards in the club, and everyone's going to have similar teams. Everyone's going to have the Ousmane Dembele's. Everyone is going to even have Messi, Messi and Ronaldo and Mbappe and the Neymars. These should be like the top tier cards that only few people have, but everyone's going to have them. It's almost going to be not enough stock for the amount of people want, because they're still going to be hard to pack, but they're going to be really cheap. So it almost makes the fun and excitement of packing one of them no good anymore, because you see, Messi, let's see how much he costs, and he's 80k. So, that is one thing they do need to change. And another thing linked with the transfer market is the player price ranges. Now, there's some players, like my first pack on the Welcome Back packs on the FUT web app, I got Ruben Diaz. And now I thought, you know what, he might be maybe 40, 50k, because he's fodder, high rated. He's not the fastest, he's not one of the most meta players, but he's Premier League and he is high rated, so it's good for the transfer market, fodder, SBCs and all that. But when I went to see his price range and to list him on the market, his minimum buy now, or minimum buy now, was 137k. Now, I don't know what his max was, but I don't need to see what the max is, because no one in the right mind is going to buy a Ruben Diaz. Although he's 88 rated, and he might be decent, no one is going to spend 137k on a player like him. Another example is Toni Kroos. He's on another one with 137k. I've seen on the internet and Twitter and stuff like that Saul has a price range of 230k. I'm not quite sure what that was all about. But there is some very weird price ranges that do need to be fixed, because I've got players like Ruben Diaz who I can't list up on the market because his price range is so high, and like I said before, no one is going to spend nearly 140k on Ruben Diaz with 60 odd pace. It's just not happening. So that is another thing that EA do need to fix. So if they want to take the web app down again and fix all this, the SBCs, the players, the transfer market, the objectives, they can do that, because no one wants to play a game that is obviously physically not working properly as it should be, because it's just no fun, and there seems to be little hype compared to previous years on the web app. But let's move on to the final point for the FIFA FUT 23 web app. Now then, the final point for the FUT 23 web app that I've noticed and a lot of other people have seemed to be raging about is if you go to the Leaderboards tab on the web app. Now, on the Leaderboards tab, they've got the usual, the match earnings, the transfer profit, the all the the leaderboards, the top squads and everything like that. But people have noticed there's the leaderboard for the match earnings is very suspicious, because the player with the most has earned 132,000 coins from playing matches alone, which, considering the game isn't even out for another week, is quite strange how someone has got that much from playing the web app when you can't even play games. You know, people have obviously got onto the game. I don't know if they work for EA or what, or if they've got on without permission, but we'll have to see what they do with that. So obviously those players are also getting coins to buy players, which other people don't. And then you go across from the match earnings to the transfer profit, and there's people up there within the first hour of the game who've got 4 million transfer profit. And I know to get 4 million transfer profit, you could just pack someone like ridiculously insane. You know, you could pack R9 and sell him. You know, that will happen to some lucky people. But even if you pack R9 on the first day of the web app, especially within the first hour, no one's going to have the 4 million or the 5 million to buy him. So it's almost impossible to get that, which is obviously showing that people have had FIFA 23 early, and they do have an advantage, which is highly unfair. You know, EA do always try and make it, you know, claim that it needs to be fair for all and everything like this. But, you know, when people are playing the game early and getting all these coin advantages and player advantages and match advantages over everyone else, it's highly unfair. Because, you know, if all these players are managing to play games, managing to open packs, managing to get far more coins than everyone else, there's examples on the market. If I have any photos or images, I'll put them on the screen now of proof that players like Mbappe, players pack Mbappe and they list him up without a minimum buy now or bid value. So people are managing to buy Mbappe or bid on Mbappe and get him for 170,000 coins. Just let that sink in. 170,000 coins for the best player in the game on day one, hour one of FIFA 23 on the web app. Because people are managing to play the game early, get more coins than anyone else. Because, you know, when you start the game, you start on 0 coins. The only way to get coins is from your 4 welcome backpacks, because all the SBC packs are now untradeable, which is, I don't know why they've done that. But that's one thing that I've even mentioned, but that is an extra bonus one. But, you know, people managing to get Mbappe for less than 200k on a bid for him on day one is ridiculous. Now, these things do need to get sorted. Players' prices hopefully do go up between now and the release of the actual game. But yeah, I think that wraps up my my views and possible issues on the FUT 23 web app so far. I mean, I must admit, it's not the greatest start. It's really not the greatest start to life on the new app. But, you know, we've got to hope that they do change something, but it's really not looking positive so far. Let me know your opinions on the FUT web app so far. Let me know who the best player you've packed is. Let me know your teams, anything, and I will respond to all of you down below. But until then, good luck in the rest of your packs. Enjoy the rest of your day, and peace out.